Hello. Just wait for everyone to come on and hope that the comments work. Got one viewer. 4. Hello, 4 viewers. If you can please just leave a comment just to see if they are working, and also just to see if you can hear me. There we go. Hello, Thomas from Dorset. Thank you. Hi, Sharon. It's runny nose weather today. Hiya, Louise. Testing. Is it working? Got my little microphone there. Just comment to let me know you can hear me, please. Hello from Texas. Hello, Diana. Nice to see you. Selena, yes, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Sometimes it does take a while for comments to come through, so we just have to be a little bit patient. Receiving loud and clear. Fantastic. Hello from Cyprus. Wow. Excellent. No, good to see you all. So, little introduction for those of you who don't know me. My name is Mackenzie, and I run the Shadows of York Ghost Walk. It's a mixture of history and ghost stories, but today I'm not telling you anything ghostly, I'm afraid. Today is purely a little wander around York. I did one of these last month, or beginning of this month, something like that, a few weeks ago, and thought we'd do another one because we didn't get to cover all of York. Now today, it is busy in the city, so hopefully we won't be disturbed too much, but if we are disturbed then we'll just ignore them and carry on. I will answer some questions along the way as and when they come up in my comments. Sometimes they don't, so I do apologise if I miss you. It's not deliberate, I promise. And also just to let you know, I've been working very hard on the page to make sure we don't get the dreaded scammers. That, however, does mean that there's an awful lot of words and emojis that are not allowed in the comments. So if you find you're not able to comment, then please just send me a message or wait patiently until later on, because what I'll do is I'll go through the comments and unblock them, see who they are, and if they're genuine, then obviously I'll respond. That's the idea. Every now and then I may just mention a little bit of history, but otherwise this is just a nice casual stroll where the people of York are going to look at a strange woman holding a camera talking to herself. So first of all, I'm going to show you this. Ooh, not turn around. Dramatic entry there, failed. There we go. Excellent, there we go. So that there is the York Minster. It's one angle of it, and we are standing down Chapter Street, where it was recently used for filming Gentleman Jack. I know I say this on nearly every talk, but that is the current in thing at the moment. It's nice and quiet down here, but when I get around this corner, you will soon see that we have a lot of people out and about getting their daily exercise. You miss York. Do you know what? I miss York as well. I haven't been here for a month. Just been locked up in my house. So there you go, the beautiful Minster. The Minster was completed in 1472. Took just over 250 odd years to build. A beautiful structure, Gothic cathedral. There you go. Now if you're ever coming here to come and visit the Treasurer's house, the Treasurer's house is just beyond the walls, you can see the rooftops there, and you would come down here or down there. Now we're going to have a nice little wander through the streets. I'm not going to talk all the way through it though, so I'm just going to let you enjoy it all, and I'll have a little look at your comments. I say I won't talk through it all, but I might end up talking if I'm responding, so but I hope you enjoy it anyway. And don't worry, if you can't watch the full thing live, the video will be available afterwards, and it always will. Now this is College Street, where you'll find St William's College, that building there with the blue doors. Another bit of the Minster for you there. As you can see, there's quite a few bodies out and about today, but it's not busy as you probably think. This is fairly quiet. And a few people out in t-shirts. Bit brave. It is gorgeous weather today, blue skies. It was a bit foggy this morning though. Now this here is a bit of stone masonry work for you. They're currently not at work at the moment, but it's all charity based. And what they are doing is they're replacing individual stonework in the Minster that's obviously looking very sorry for itself. Because the Minster every now and then does need a little bit of TLC. So again, when you pop along to York, you'll be able to watch people doing their work here, and it's really fascinating. Such talented people that work here. The fun part though is probably getting the bricks removed and then trying to put them in. I imagine that's quite hair raising. Oh, sorry, blurred a little bit. There we go. There's another view of the Minster on this side now. Now up ahead in front of me, just over there, this chappie here, that's a statue of Constantine the Great, or Constantine, depends on how you want to pronounce it. There was a Roman emperor who actually was one of the first emperors, if not the first emperor I should say, to allow the practice of Christianity. And he helped stop the persecution of the Christians. Throwing them to the lions is out, dear fellows, but it was also declared the Roman emperor somewhere around here on this spot. So that there is Constantine, ladies and gents, but he did not convert to Christianity himself until his deathbed. You'll hear many different stories, but we believe that the truth is he did not convert until his deathbed. We're not going to go up that way because we went up that way in the last video, and if you missed it guys, again that video is available via the videos section on Shadows of York page. Sorry if it's a bit bouncy, there we go. We are now approaching Stonegate. Hello! Oh, bye, that sun's bright. I can't actually see the screen. So this here is Stonegate. It's mentioned in the Doomsday Book. But underneath our feet, a lot beneath our feet, say about 15 to 20 feet down, is the original Roman road that led from the Basilica. And the Basilica was here, where the Minster is, and it led all the way out of the city over a Roman bridge over the river, which sadly is no longer there. But yes, there has always been a street or a road here since 71 AD. Now, Stonegate at one time was prominent for its bookshops and printers, and this was one It was also home to a lot of stained glass painters. Now, a lot of people do ask, why is there a Holy Bible hanging above the door? Well, that is because that used to be a bookshop, and that was quite a common thing to hang above the doorway to indicate this. Another thing that a lot of people notice is this guy. A little devil, a red devil. And don't worry, it's nothing horrific, even though he looks horrific. Now, this chappie's been here since the 1800s. He is known as the printer's devil, and basically whenever the printers were up to mischief or something went wrong with the ink, usually the ink would go missing, or it would just not type the word properly, or something was misspelled, they would blame it on a little devil. And so this is why we have a little devil who is chained to the wall, keep him at bay, make sure he behaves himself. And down here we are heading towards Barley Hall. This is one of our many snickleways in York. I shall just speed up along so this lovely lady can get past me. Don't worry, no, it's all right, love. Everyone's in it. Thank you. There we go. Now this here is Barley Hall. Barley Hall during the day, when everything reopens up, is a lovely little museum. I do recommend it. It's part of 3 museums, so you've got this one, Barley Hall, which tells you all about Tudor life, and they'll have an exhibition about magic and mystery. But there's also 2 other museums, so you've got the Richard III Museum, which is at Monkgate, and at Micklegate you have the Henry VII Museum. So if you do come to York and you want to go to those 3 museums, you can get a combi ticket, save you a few pennies. But Barley Hall is mostly an authentic Tudor house. I say mostly because we didn't know it was here until about the 1980s. Yes, believe it or not, we forgot it was here. So when they were doing a bit of digging around, assuming knocking buildings down to make a pathway that was probably already here in any case, they discovered this building, or parts of it, and so they decided to renovate it, rebuild it, and show people exactly what a Tudor house looked like and what Tudor life was like. I'm going to go through this really spooky snickleway now. Now normally these curtains would be open, you could see inside the house. Now beyond those curtains is a Tudor banqueting hall. But this is a very spooky snickleway to walk down through on a night. And you've got to look out for that there Bargeist, or the Barguest, the Hound of Hell as we describe him. And if you're taller than me, because little me is a shorty, then you need to duck when you get to this bit, because the roof comes down quite low. I shall demonstrate, hang on. So yeah, if you're taller than me, 5'1", then you need to duck. Remember that when you're out having one too many. And don't bash your head. We've got a lot of these little various snickleways. Now up there is Grape Lane. Grape Lane. Now I'm not going to tell you its original name, because it's not something you want on daytime TV. Not that this is TV, but you know what I'm talking about. Grape Lane, original name was Grope Lane, and basically this used to be the red light district. Oh la la, yes. So gentlemen, if you were feeling a bit lonesome on a night, that was where you would come. And many of these buildings used to be a brothel. Obviously not the modern ones, because they came along later, but this building here used to be owned by a chap who was a friend of mine, Matthew, and in the deeds it said around the 1700s was a house of ill repute. Think about that when you're having your dinner. Another lovely restaurant actually is through Swinegate Court. Through there is a place called Lucia's. It is Lovely, highly recommend it. Oh, and by the way, Swinegate, it's called Swinegate because this is here where we used to keep pigs. Swine! Now I think we should take you down another Snickle way. Denise Atkins, hello, being a bit late, snake with moving. I don't know what you mean. You mean you're moving a snake? This alley, as you might call it, but we call them a Snickle Way, is one of the longest ones in York. And this is formerly known as Mad Alice Lane. No, it's not named after my friend Mad Alice, whom I'm sure you remember from a few of my other previous videos. The lovely Mad Alice named herself Mad Alice after this street. Now the story here is that there was a lady called Alice Smith who murdered her husband by poisoning him, and to try and avoid the hangman's noose, she tried to convince the court that she was insane. However, they were having none of it, and so she hanged. However, in all of our records, there is no Alice Smith that has been executed in York for this crime. So we're not sure who Mad Alice is or why a street was named after her, or rather, Snickle Way. I'll just make sure it's safe to come out here. Yes, it is. We are now on Petergate. Another little shot of the Minster there for you in the background. Mad Alice Lane. Now it's going to get a bit busier here. I may have to jump and dodge every now and then. When it's all up and running, this is normally your really busy areas in York. So if you're visiting York, guys, if possible, I do recommend coming during the week at non-peak times, because it'll be more like this then. You can enjoy it, you're not getting pushed and shoved, you can take pictures and actually see what you're taking a picture of. And on a night, dead during the week, you can get lots of pictures and do lots of interesting tours and stuff, like mine. On a weekend, a bit busier. Down that way is Goodrum Gate. And that'll take you down to what's called Parliament Street. And we're going to go down this way to the Shambles. Now here's an interesting fact for you. I've told you this in many of my videos, that we used to have an awful lot of churches here in York. We still do. But that raised ground area just over there, the little steps where people are sat right now, that there used to be a church. I'll post a picture of it later for you. It was only a small church, but the graveyard used to be everywhere here around our feet. Now the photograph I'm going to post doesn't show the graveyard because the graveyard was flattened before the picture was taken. But until just a handful of years ago, you used to be able to read the gravestones that were in the floor, in the ground, sorry. Now I don't know if anybody will actually pick up on this. There's a house, and I can't remember where it is, but it's called The Cage. It's said to be one of the most haunted buildings in the country, and it's just taken a lady 10 years to sell it. But I think this little building here looks just a tiny bit like that house called The Cage. Now if you look it up, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's the same colour anyway. It's what I think. Everybody else might disagree. Now here is what you all wanted to see, the Shambles. It's actually not too busy. We're very lucky. It was busier earlier. There you go, the Shambles Market. The Shambles was actually known as the Shamble. It was called the Flesh Shammel. The word shammel, we think, is derived from an Anglo-Saxon word meaning shelf. Now further down you will see some shelves. Now it's called a flesh shambles because it was a flesh meat market. Flesh meat, fresh meat. And the buildings were built deliberately close together, so they say, so that the rainwater wouldn't come down and spoil the meat that would be on display. And also, so the sun, which you can see is nowhere to be seen as such here, wouldn't shine down and spoil the meat on display. So you can see there's some little shelves there, and there, and all along here basically. Above our heads is some hooks where meat also used to be hung up. And again, if you go online, you'll be able to see photographs from the late 1800s, early 1900s, when there were still butchers here, and you can still see the meat hanging in the shops. And it was told to me by a friend of mine who used to work at the Castle Museum with me, Stuart, and thank you very much for this information, Stuart. You'll notice this grate here. I already knew that this grate was deliberately built so that the blood and guts and all the bits and pieces they didn't want to be chucked out into the middle of the street. However, it was deliberately built, raised. Now it's probably sunk over time, but it was built on a slant so that all the blood and guts, etc., would ooze down this street to the bottom and eventually be cleared away. One would hope. However, it was only cleaned out once every 2 weeks. Ugh. Imagine that. I'll just have a little nosy through this snickleway here. And this is the Shambles Market. It's currently just a food market, but when you come, all of this here is filled with different stalls, so you can get all your quirky things, you know, little gifts. You can also buy clothing, candles, books, DVDs, and food, of course. Fresh fruit, veg, cheese. There's a lovely cheese stand just over yonder, and also a little butcher's on the end. He's normally very busy. And your food section is over there, where there's a few people queuing up for various stalls that I think has also recently won an award, so well done them. Now I'm going to come back out of here because it is a wee bit busy. I'm just going to have a little scroll through your comments, see if there's any questions, and if I've missed anything I will come back and have a look later. And Alice Tebbett, I'll have to look it up, Penelope. There was a lot of Alice's, just not an Alice Smith. Hi Emma. Am I near the York Bath? No, I'm not near there. The Roman Bath, you mean? The Roman Bath pub, nice pub. Bit loud, but it's good for the rock nights and a bit of karaoke, which you'll find near Parliament Street and Sampson Square, I think. Another little snick away for you there. And oh, Harry Potter, for the Harry Potter fans, there you go. And the Roman Bath is called the Roman Bath because it is also a miniature museum which you must go visit, and it basically shows you the ruins of an original Roman baths. So add that to your list. Very, very cheap to enter, but it's definitely worth a visit. Now, there was something I forgot to mention. In the Shambles Market, there's another snickleway, we'll go down this way. In the Shambles Market, that used to be all built up as well with old buildings. They were knocked down in the 1900s, I think. But they were also an extension of butchers and various other shops and things. So when they built up the Shambles, you may have thought to yourself, well, I can still see the sunlight coming through in various streets. Well, once upon a time you wouldn't have been able to. Everything was built up so high. The sun and the rain was basically deflected. Now that there was a snickleway. called 1.5 Whitma Gate. Whitma Gate is literally this pokey bit of street here. It's the shortest street with the longest name, and there's a little plaque for you there. Now normally I would take you off down towards the castle, but I'm not going to do that today. We're going to go somewhere where we've not been before. The Fossgate Merchants Quarter. So this here is another foodie road, but it's also got a few quirky shops. Again, I do recommend them. So you must venture out of the little city centre there and into our streets, because they do get forgotten about, and it's such a shame. There is some great pubs and restaurants and shops down here, so please don't forget about them. And here is the smallest pub, the Bluebell. It is literally a room. Quite literally just a room. It is the tiniest pub in York. The Hop is a nice place. Oh, I've just walked past something here. You must come here. I was just thinking, where is it? Bowler and Betty. Now, if you like your retro stuff, your 1940s, 50s, 60s, that style, this is the shop to come to. That's all right, don't worry. There you go, so you've got to come here. I last Christmas bought my lovely red coat that you might have seen me floating about in recently. It is amazing. Yes, pricey, but the quality is excellent. It will last you for years. Now this is a great shop. It's called Give the Dog a Bone. It's full of quirky things, from all your Marvel stuff to... last time I was in there, it had some Looney Tunes t-shirts and stuff. So if you like your old-fashioned Looney Tunes, like I do, then that's a great shop for that sort of thing. This here, the Cosy Club, used to be a theatre, a cinema, beg your pardon, a cinema in days gone by. And that's why it looks so grand on the outside. Such a shame it's not a cinema anymore. York used to have quite an abundance of cinemas. Sadly, as you all know, though, modern times take over. The big boys come along with their bigger screens and bigger rooms and knock the little establishments off the grid. There you go, that's a better view of it. Oh, another view of the Minster in the background there. Interesting fact, no other building in York or close proximity of York may be built taller than the Minster. Fun fact for you there. Some say it's so that you can always see the Minster in the distance when you're driving into York. And there was an awful lot of hoo-ha some years ago. We had something called the Big Wheel that had come to York, and you'd get on the big wheel so that you could basically see York from above. But no, it was just shorter than the Minster by a couple of feet, so it was technically allowed. And the wheel isn't a permanent structure either. The wheel, sadly, is no longer here now. But it was great fun, except for in York it's usually cloudy, foggy, rainy, and you can't see now. So as much as it was nice, it was a bit of a waste of time. So if you want to see all of York, again, when it opens up, the Minster, you can go up several hundred flights of stairs. There's no lift, and you can see York from the top of the Minster. Another bit of cobbled street for you here. A nice little bridge. So again, I'll say it once more, when you come to York, come down Fossgate, but not just Fossgate, keep on walking, And there's a street in front of us there. I'm not going to go down it today though, because I need to take us someplace else. But just up ahead is a place called Warmgate. Again, quite a lot of very exotic restaurants down there. So please do come and try those out. Here is the famous Red Lion pub. Supposedly visited by Dick Turpin. However, I cannot confirm. Despite popular belief, he was not apprehended here. No, he was caught out in Beverley. But he was brought to York to put on trial. So don't ever get mixed up and be told that he was arrested here at the Red Lion. If you're coming via bus to York, you've got one bus station just up there on what's called Piccadilly. Piccadilly isn't that exciting to look at, so I might just spin you around now and tell you a little ghosty tale. So, about 6 years ago now, I was coming out to do a tour. Now, I do love telling this story because lots of people that come on the tour are often staying in the travel lodge, which is just at the top of this street. And you'll say to them, so where are you staying? And they're like, oh, nowhere haunted or scary, thinking they've got one up on me. You'd be wrong. I've got a photograph that could potentially just be the lighting, folks. I'll never say 100% that it is a ghost, okay? I'll leave that to you. But it is a bit creepy. Now, if you can't find it, I'll post that again later. But basically, years ago when I was heading out, I used to wear contact lenses just to make me look a bit more spooky. Unfortunately, I'm getting a bit older and allergies have suddenly crept in and I can't always wear them. So, allergies, sniffing. So I put one in and one out just to make me look a bit weird and wonderful. And I was trying to get a picture. Now, unlike today, photographs 6-7 years ago weren't that great on mobile phones, particularly selfies. And so, I was trying to get a picture, but it was a bit dark, a bit grainy. My phone weren't that great. I decided, forget it. I'll try it again another time. Anyway, when I got home, I thought to myself, I best delete these pictures because I literally took one after the other. And the thing with mobile phones back then is you had to delete your photographs to free up memory. So I was sat at home in bed just deleting all these pictures. Now I was literally scrolling through them one after the other. Now there was nobody on this street, nobody close by to me, no nothing, okay? And I stopped dead on one particular picture. And it was literally what looked like a skull that had photobombed my photograph. And he was looking over my shoulder just about here. So, needless to say, I didn't sleep very well that night, but I will show you that later. It's also on my Instagram. I keep forgetting to mention this. Shadows of York now has an Instagram. It's not new. I've just gotten into using it a bit more now. So if you want to follow me on there, you can do. I'm going to turn you around again now. Ooh! Just replying to a question. Do the pubs allow children in the daytime? Some do, some don't. You'll have to inquire. Probably best to have a look online. Drop people a message and just find out. Sorry, I just stopped to have a little scroll through the comments there. I'm going to take you off to Dick Turpin's grave, because a few of you have asked about that, and I've only been there once, I think, in my videos. I'm not even sure I've still got that video on the page, so I'll take us up to see old Dick Turpin, eh? And for those of you who do not know who Dick Turpin is, Dick Turpin was a highwayman, a famous highwayman from Essex. And, excuse me, He started off life with the Gregory gang. Actually, no, he didn't. He started off life as a butcher. Didn't like that, so he joined up with the Gregory gang, who were a band of villains and scoundrels, raping, pillaging, robbery, beating up people. And then Turpin, he broke away from the Gregory gang, wanted to go off on his own, got into a spot of bother, as you would as a highwayman, and so he hot-footed it all the way to Yorkshire. Actually, apparently he went to Lancashire first, but who knows. Lancashire, Yorkshire, he's been everywhere, shall we say. Anyway, he was still up to his no good ways. He did an awful lot of horse stealing. He liked horses. And one day he was out around in Beverley and he shot a cockerel. And for that he got arrested. And he wrote a letter down south to his brother-in-law, who refused to pay the postage. And so it fell into the hands of somebody who used to be Dick Turpin's headmaster, who recognised his handwriting, wrote a letter to the court saying, "You've got Dick Turpin, the famous highwayman." And so then he was arrested not just for shooting a cockerel, but for being the legendary highwayman, and taken to York, where he was to be put on trial. And then he was executed out on the Tyburn, the Knavesmire, where the racecourse is today. Whew, bit of a hill there. Here we are, this is a graveyard. I know it doesn't look like one, trust me, it is. And I've read on social media somewhere that there is somebody that comes to lay flowers for Dick Turpin sometimes. Isn't that nice? They bring the little doggy and come and lay flowers for him. I think that's nice, but he wasn't a very nice person. Right, cool, blimey, he's all the way over there. I'll just make my apologies to all these people I'm walking on top of now. Excuse me, sorry, beg your pardon, don't mind me, I don't weigh much, sorry. Look, you can't even hardly read these, they're so old. Beg your pardon. Now there is a rumour that we don't think that the real Dick Turpin is actually here. However, unless anybody's got any DNA and we dig him up, we aren't ever going to know. But this is the grave, we believe, of the real Dick Turpin. There's no flowers here today, so they've obviously been cleared up since. Now I think that sometime we should do a little ghost vigil here. What do you think? I'll see if I can make that a bit bigger for you. Hang on. There you go. His alias was John Palmer, by the way, I did forget to mention. So when he came up here, he took on a fake name, John Palmer, so that he wouldn't be recognised as the famous Richard Turpin. There you go. I am just going to strike pause a second, guys, so I'll leave you looking at his grave whilst I have a little look through your comments, because I did say I'd interact with you. I'm going to scroll back quite a bit, hang on. Chat amongst yourselves. Best seafood, pouring rain, red lion. Do you on the wall? Do I go on the wall? Never been because no dogs allowed. Oh, they didn't allow dogs on there. I didn't know that. I don't go on the wall with the tour, and at the moment the walls are locked off, so nobody can go on the walls. But I have got a little video, Wendy. There is a video on my page where I did have a little wander along one stretch of the walls. And in my last daytime video, you could see quite a bit of the walls from the outside as well. So have a little look at that. Kay Appleby, yes, I'm feeling a lot better, thank you. The old kidneys have been behaving themselves so far. Whoops. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through more of your comments here. Oh, hello. Oh, it froze there. Sorry about that, guys. Nicola, it's back, don't worry. If these videos ever cut out, ladies and gents, don't ever panic. Just refresh your page and I'll come back on when I find signal. I'll never leave you, okay? He's a happy chappy, isn't he? I always get a dog on my toes. Or a sheep. Or a cow. Or a fox. Or a cat.
I've just hooked a lead over the top.
All right, thank you. Do you want me to?
I'll...
All right, thank you, love. Yeah, don't want him running off. There we go. Thank you. Cheers, love.
You're welcome.
Now up ahead there is one of the smaller gates of York. It's actually called Fisher Gate. Apparently it's blocked up until about around the 1800s because people were coming into the city illegally way back then, because you used to have to pay a fee to come into the city, especially if you were a merchant, and you would go through the main gates, particularly around Warmgate. Warmgate, I should point out, if you went up that street it would bring you back to Warmgate and Warmgate Bar, okay? So remember that street with all the foodie shops? Remember to go down there and you'll find it. Warmgate Bar is the only gate in York, and is actually, I believe, the only wall in England that still has a barbican attached to it. I'll just flick you around and talk to you. So a barbican is basically an outer wall structure. Has a door on either side, big double doors on either side. You'll have seen them in movies. What we'd do is we would let you come into the walled up area, and then we would lock you in there and ask you what's your business, why are you there, what do you want. And if you were a merchant then you'd be made to pay a fee. If you didn't pay the fee then you could set up shop, but it would have to be outside the walls, so you might not have made as much business as you would have done inside the city. But if you do pay your fee then obviously you could go in. However, if they thought that you was there for a much more sinister reason, then what they would do is keep you locked inside those walls and shoot bow and arrows at you, chuck boiling oil, all that sort of stuff on top of you, boulders, whatever. You name it, we'd throw it at you. And kill you, obviously. So that was the point of a barbican. It was a defence mechanism. I'm going to just point this out at you. Now this is another section of the walls, or entrance to the walls. I'll cross over and show you. I'm also going to show you something else. I can never say this word. My friend Nigel can. I don't know why. Garderobe? Something like that. Basically a toilet. So somebody's toilet in the medieval period would have been up there, and this was the flush system, the sewers. So imagine that, if you were stood underneath here and somebody just emptied out their toilet, yep, you would be getting covered in that. Actually, no, you probably wouldn't, because all this area here used to be filled with water. This was a moat for around the castle. The castle was literally just beyond the travel lodge here. I'll just show you this wall. I don't think you can get into the walls. I might be wrong, you know. It's a one-way system. Oh, do you know what? I'm lying. I think the walls have been opened. Yes, they have by the looks of it.
It's one way at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm just pointing something out. Thank you. So the walls are open, ladies and gents. I was wrong. So this must be a recent thing, but it is one way. You can only walk one way on the walls. There you go. But when you've come round, you'll come back down here. And to get to the next section, because a lot of people do get lost because the walls are not complete, you will cross over here and head over the bridge and you'll get to another bridge, you'll cross that bridge and eventually you'll then rejoin the walls. However, we're going to stroll back down this way because I want to point out another building to you. Hi Jeff Riley, how are you doing? Just hang on a minute, need to cross over. Safely somehow. There we go. Oh, by the way, that modern looking building over there used to be some offices, but now they're converting it into flats. So if you fancy paying through the nose for a flat to live in York, there you go. You can have that one of them. That'll be lovely. You'll be able to see Castle Car Park and then the Castle Museum and Clifford's Tower. But if you live on this side, you'll just see this. So probably live in a different one. But just over there, you can see the rooftops of Castle Museum that used to be Castle Prison. And in a minute, you should be able to see the walls of what used to be the original castle. I'll just cross over. So that castle I was talking about, all this area here was water. There you go. Now all this along there, I can't get closer unfortunately, that there is an original castle wall to the castle that was once here that surrounded this area and was also attached to Clifford's Tower. Clifford's Tower is currently undergoing some TLC. Bless it. Ooh, and some exciting news. I'm sure I can tell you. They were holding auditions to do some voiceovers and I've gotten through the first part. So I'm hoping that I'll get through the second part of the audition and maybe one day you'll hear my voice inside the museum. That'd be exciting, won't it? You won't recognise me, I'll be some Viking or anything, something like that I imagine. We'll see if I pass it. I haven't done voiceover work for a lot of years. That's my background, ladies and gents. I used to do theatre, voiceover work, modelling, scare acting, which led me on to ghost walking. Yes. And I wasn't always big on history. Here's something for you. Here's something to tell your children, actually. I'm going to reveal something here and now. And I'm going to spin you around because it's not that exciting to look at around here with all the building work. I didn't do very well in school. Mainly because I just wasn't that bright at the time. I liked my arty-farty things, you know, drama and art. That was it. But I was quite good at science and odd little things like that. But unfortunately, when I was a kid, I was very poorly with something called scoliosis. I had a perfect S shape in my spine, which is another reason why I'm short, because I had a lot of corrective surgery. Today it's still dangerous, but a lot easier. Back then it was a bit barbaric. But anyway, I had to take 3 years out of school and I was home tutored. The home tutoring was okay, but not great. So I failed miserably in my GCSEs. I have 3. I have an E in maths, a D in English, which you can probably tell if my typo errors on my page, and something called a DC in English. I don't know, I wasn't allowed to do anything else. And I met my careers advisor, told her I wanted to be an actress, and she said, oh, well, you've not got the grades, so I think you should just be a waitress. So I laughed in her face, and yeah, I did become a waitress, but I also just went on to do acting anyway. But I used to have a history teacher whom I hated, and he hated me. In fact, if you didn't like history, he just didn't like you. Wrong attitude for a teacher. Mr. Milburn. I said his name. Yeah, Mr. Milburn. He'd be pleased with me right now, but he hated me back then. And I did not know nothing about history at all. And because of him, I hated history. And I refused to have anything to do with it. But then growing up, I used to watch a lot of period dramas and Tudor programmes and films. usually because my dad was watching them. So there's a lot of films from the 1840s, 1850s and 60s, usually about Henry VIII and his wives. I liked them. And then as I got older, whenever I went to a museum, I loved museums. And as I got older again, I really did come to really like history, so much so that I ended up working in a museum, and now I do a history tour, and I probably know more than most. So kids, don't worry about your grades, don't panic about all this lockdown. If you want to be something, you want to learn something, you go do it. There's only you that can teach you, okay? Don't worry about what the world says and thinks. If you want your dreams, go and get them. There you go. So despite it all, being told I can't do it, shouldn't do it, couldn't do it, I did it. And I shall continue to do it for as long as I don't get run over crossing roads doing lives. Now this is the bit I wanted to show you. I'm going to turn you around now. This here is the Merchant Adventurers Hall. Nice old structure. There you go. And I've done an awful lot of ghost hunts here. It is quite active, but it picks and chooses. So it's not active permanently, guys, but it is a great place to come and do a ghost hunt. My friends, Paranormal Research York, they do them here. Nobody else has access to this building but them. Currently, anyway. This was where merchants would come and have their meetings. This building has also been used as a makeshift hospital. And this building here is the chapel. And there's an awful lot of activity that happens in there, and a lot of people say they've seen nuns in there, or ladies that look like nuns in there. Probably just nurses. So yes, it is a lovely building inside and a museum, so you can definitely come here. And outside, they normally have little tea rooms and things, so again, come and pay a visit. A beautiful building, lots of great history, a great education, and very haunted. There you go. In fact, if I can make that bigger, just show you. There you go, add that to your list. List of places to visit, okay? And it's been there since 1357. Now we are almost back to the beginning. I say the beginning, we're not near the Minster now, but we're nearly at the end of the video. So up ahead is Parliament Street, or Parliament Square, where during peak times there's lots of stalls, lots of quirky shops. You'll have buskers and various other bands playing around. And when the Vikings come and invade, as they do every year for the Viking Festival, they usually have a TP around here. Last time they had it near the Minster, but they usually have it here. And at Christmas time, when you come for the Christmas market, this is where it is as well, the Dickensian Fair. Unfortunately, as you know, like many others, it was cancelled last year, but hopefully if everything goes well, it will recommence this year. So that is where you'll find it. I'm going to hold fire here, I need to cross. So there you go. Push the little green man, hang on. Do-do-do, it's like waiting for Christmas. I do like how you get funny looks in the street. Look at that strange person talking to herself with a camera. Here we go. Sniffy, sniffy. I'll just have a little look through, see if there's any questions. No, no, that's fine. Like I say, guys, if I've missed anything, I will scroll through afterwards and do my best to answer. Or if you just didn't comment and you want to ask me something, drop me a message. There's usually an automated message that comes up saying drop me an email. It's probably worth dropping me an email just in case I don't get the notification to see your message. I'm not being rude and ignorant if I don't reply instantly, okay? Obviously, when we open up again, I'll be busy with the tours, so I'll probably be longer at responding, but I will always respond, okay? I'll show you this now. Now, when you've been on my previous videos, you'll know that I come down here quite a lot. So, this here is Coppergate, and if you are looking to come to the Jorvik Viking Centre, then you'll find the Jorvik Viking Centre is down here along with some other shops. And yes, it's very expensive, but you see that cattle shed down there, that little burger place there? Food is amazing. Just treat yourself. Put your hand in your pocket and buy it. It's lovely. And right next to it is a pizza place. Again, they're only little, but they're amazing. Handmade pizzas, fantastic. Come and buy them. They are great. This here is St Mary's. It was home to an exhibition called the Van Gogh Experience. I do not know if that's going to be extended or if it's going to be moved on now, but if it is open, do come and visit. Even if you're not a big fan of art, it is spectacular. So that is where you'll find the Van Gogh Experience if it's on. This here is the Jorvik Viking Centre. So this is where you come to visit the Viking Centre, but a word of advice, book online. Otherwise there is a massive queue to get into here during the day, and you will literally spend the whole day trying to get in there. So please do book your tickets online, and then you can just get your time slot and come and pay a visit when you're ready. Pizza place, it's amazing. Cattle shed, it's amazing. Just come and do it. Come and get food here. Oh, guys, if anybody's watched my Yorkshire Witches video, do you remember at the end of the video there was some creepy cackling? Well, it's through here. Let's see if they're out playing now. Some really creepy toy just plays music. If it's switched on, we'll listen out for it. Freak you out and then we'll move on. Is he on? Is he on? Is he on? No, he's been switched off. Oh, bummer. You see that toy thing over there, that kiddie's ride? Makes a really creepy laugh. And on a night when there's nobody here, when you're not suspecting anything and they suddenly start cackling, it's a brown code moment. Code brown moment. Why do I say code brown? Well, you see, in Merlin Entertainments we have codes. I say we because I used to work at the Dungeons and at the Alton Tower Scare Attraction, Scarefest. And we have codes for when people have accidents. When I say accidents, I mean that of the toilet type. So code yellow is wee, code brown is poo, code green could be vomit, or code rainbow could be vomit. Didn't happen very often, thankfully. And code green could also mean emergencies. I'm showing you this magnificent building. It also used to be a cinema, but it is Fairfax House. Fairfax House is a fantastic building, again a little bit out of the way of the middle of the city, so if you're going to come and visit some museums and houses, do come and visit this one. It is lovely inside, and on a night around Halloween time they do some nighttime tours, torchlight tours with some candles, and tell you stories, not necessarily ghostly but in a period drama sense, and really brings out how life truly was, with no electricity, no mobile phones, no technology, and how dark and creepy it could be on a night. So that's Fairfax House for you. That's the back of it. The front of it is quite pretty. I'll show you. I'll take us around the corner and show you the front of Fairfax House. I said I was going to finish it. I've not finished. Never mind. I'm sure you're not complaining. Clifford's Tower, having a bit of TLC. And there's St Mary's Church again. There you go, Fairfax House. This is Fairfax House. You can see the sign above the door there. There you go. I'll say it again. Gentleman Jack, watch your back, you're under attack. They actually used some parts of this in the first series, and I think they were here again just recently, a few days ago, filming, and you may have seen some pictures released online of a horse and carriage and some people dressed in period costume wearing masks. Obviously we didn't have masks back then, but we've got to keep everyone safe. That's Clifford's Tower. Some daffodils have started to pop up now in memory of the Jews who unfortunately were massacred in the year 1190. And that was actually in March, so we're approaching the anniversary. And when you come to York, you can come and pay the extortionate amount to park here in Castle Car Park. Or you can do park and ride. If I'm honest with you guys, please do park and ride. It's a lot cheaper, easy access, and there's lots of sites all around York to do park and ride. So I do recommend it if you're only coming for a day. Alan Hunt, was St Mary's where the York Story was? The York Story. Do you mean York Chocolate Story, or do you mean the story that's connected with Clifford's Tower? If you mean the one that's connected with Clifford's Tower, yes, that is the church that's connected with it. If you mean it was the York Chocolate Story, no, York Chocolate Story is near the Shambles. Penelope, you studied Civil War but didn't look at York. Oh yeah, we played a part in that. Yeah, Charles came and hid here for a bit at the King's Manor. And the St William's College was used as a printing office or something like that. Thank you, I've been pipped. I'm showing you this building up ahead as I've shown you dozens of times before. But I always find it quite fascinating that the two white doors up ahead is what we call the last drop. The last drop was where we used to execute people. It was the last place of execution before hanging was, well no, not before hanging was abolished. Hangings went on into the 1960s, but we didn't hang people here in the 1960s. This had long since been stopped. It's since become a museum. But certainly in the late 1800s and early 1900s, this was the last drop. And the way it's been described to me is that these doors, or not necessarily these exact doors, some doors that were there before used to open up. The person to be executed would be literally wheeled out. They'd pull the lever. They would then drop and hang from this spot. Once they were deemed dead, which was usually after about 40 to 45 minutes. Sometimes leave them up for an hour. And then wheel them back in and send the body off either to science to be dissected, but then eventually they'll be sent back and they'll be buried in random spots, and we did find an awful lot of bodies buried around here. Now on a night you can't normally see, so I'm going to point this out to you. When this was a prison in the Victorian period, it was much bigger. Now just there you can see some little grooves in the walls, just there next to the windows. Well, that's because there was a really tall structure that went all the way across this car park. There was a circular building just somewhere over there that was almost mimicking the Clifford's Tower there. And there was various offshoots of buildings that looked like really long corridors, if you will, in various sections of that would go across this car park. the castle wall used to literally go all the way around, and then there was a wall built by the Victorians that went all the way around here. Of course, that was demolished long after. And there was some gates, entrance gates, I think, that were somewhere over there. My friend Alan Milner, he'll be able to tell me about this. Alan, who works at the museum still, he'll tell you exactly where they were, but there were some gates that were somewhere around here. And a chap called Dr. John Kirk, who basically created the museum that you see today on the inside, he collected everything. And one day when they were demolishing the walls and all of the buildings around here, they were taking down the massive gates. And Dr. John Kirk happened to be walking along one day, spotted him and said, "Oi, what are you doing with those gates?" And they said, "Oh, we're just going to trash them." He says, "No, you're not, I'll have them." And these gates are on display inside the Victorian Street, which is inside this section of the building here. There you go. Do you know whereabouts people were hanged in York in the 50s and 60s? I don't think they were. They were not done in the castle because this building became the Castle Museum in, I think it was 1932, I can't remember. Alan will kill me, I can't remember, I'm terrible with dates. 1930s, there we go. 1930s, this became a museum, so the executions did not take place here after about the 1920s, because before it became a museum, this became a military base, briefly, military offices. So hangings in York I don't think took place, Louise. If they did, I'll have to find out where. Yeah, Nigel, the last execution was in 1896, but they were allowed. Oh, was it? Are you sure? I thought it was in 1901. Ooh, I don't know now. You're throwing me. I'll have to have a look. I thought the last one was in 1901. I could be wrong. Anyway, that there is the end of our little tour around York. So there was 2 of these videos. This one, obviously, and the one that I did before. I just wanted to show you York in the daylight, because usually when I take you off on a little walk, it's pitch black. You can't appreciate the buildings. I would have taken us to some other locations, but it was a little bit busy, and I did feel that people would probably be in the way, or I'd be in the way, and for the sake of safety it wasn't worth it. But at least you've seen the main parts, you've seen the Minster, you've seen the Shambles, you've seen Stonegate, a couple of other bits and pieces that you don't normally see on tour, ever. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Now I am sorry about all the scammers we've had recently, but thankfully I don't think anybody's been caught out, not on this page anyway. But if you do wish to leave me a donation, there is a link attached to this video. I always forget it. It is paypal.me/Shadows of York. There you go, I've remembered it. Well done me. I should remember it really, shouldn't I? I've said it enough times. So there you go. If you want to leave me a little tip to say thank you, please do. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And my next talk, I'm not going out anywhere, I'm going to do it at home. It is just a talk, there's nothing to show you. It is about Victorian mourning. Now it sounds really morbid, but it's fascinating. Fascinating. So the Victorians today, we think we're a really morbid lot. Well, I suppose in a way, yes, but actually no. They just had to deal with death a lot more than what we do because of accidents, diseases, childbirth, executions, etc. So there was a lot of death involved, more than probably today. Not that we don't experience it, I just mean, for example, you might have married several times over because your husband or your wife died from XYZ. You would have umpteen children, not many of them survived. So yes, we were morbid, but we weren't morbid, we just dealt with it a lot. And not just in Victorian times, but, you know, leading all the way up until probably the last 60, 70 years. However, the Victorians did have some very quirky things and traditions and stuff. So I'm going to tell you all about those on the 7th or the 8th. I think it's the 7th of March. It's on the events page anyway. So if you want to come and join me for that, then please do. It's actually a talk that I was going to do here at the museum, but unfortunately I'm not here anymore. thanks to the pandemic. But I'll try and remember all the things that I did sort of learn whilst I was here, and then relay that all to you. Again, if you have questions about it afterwards, please just ask. And that's it. Now I'm going to have a quick scroll through your comments, make sure I've not missed anybody, and then I'll say bye-bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Very welcome, thank you. Oh, there's quite a lot of thank yous, thank you. Louise Bealby, I thought outsourced it to... Yeah, you know what, executions probably took place more or less in Leeds afterwards, or surrounding parts of there, I'm not sure. I'll definitely have to look into it. Who went to a school in York? Let's have a look. Just thought I caught that. Maybe I missed it. I'll come back to your questions if I have missed anything, but I can't see anything specific, so there we go. Sometimes comments don't always come through as well until after the video, annoyingly, but I'll do my best to have a little look for you. And like I say, please do drop me a message if you want to know anything in particular. All right, and I'll do my best to answer. I can't always answer, don't always know the answer, but I'll do my best. Right then. Oh, excuse me. I will see you all later. Take care, lots of love, stay safe. Mwah. And I will catch you later. Bye for now.